Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official Marvel Snap Zone podcast. And I was only going to do one video today, but Dara released two decks. Longtime viewers will know that there are certain content creators that if they release a deck, you get a video the instant I have time. Dara has joined the list of them. His most recent lists are just on fire. He doesn't release as many lists as a lot of other creators, so you're not going to see him here as often. But other creators that's true of are Lambie, Moyen, W, and Safety Blade. Dara has joined that list of, oh, there's a new Dara deck. We need to make sure our viewers know about it before this spreads across the meta. These decks went undefeated across Conquest, starting at Proving Grounds straight up to Infinite Tickets. Both decks completely undefeated in Conquest. So you're really, really, really going to want to check these decks out. You're not going to be sorry. But before we go any further, I'd like you to hit that subscribe button. What we do here on this channel is we get you the best decks in the game as fast as possible before the meta has realized what hits them. This way, you can snap. You can take advantage of the extra cubes you get when you know what you're doing. You know the meta. We make sure you know the meta. When you know what you're doing, you know the meta, and the opponent doesn't know what you're going to play. That helps you get infinite, get your infinity borders, and reach all your goals in Marvel Snap. In addition, every month, we're the home of the biggest giveaway in all of Marvel Snap. We just gave away 8 season passes. We'll be giving away more next season. So make sure you keep it here. Make sure you sub to be a part of that. If you are subbed, by the way, hit us with those like and comments. Do us the favor. Help us out with that reach. We always appreciate you. Okay. The first deck we're going to talk about is Dera's Daken Surfer. This deck is really cool. I've been playing I don't want to say a version of this because it's not like actually that similar. And the reason it's not actually that similar is it didn't have Daken. It was otherwise a very similar deck. Like it was running a different pair of 2-drops and it wasn't running Daken. And every other card of the deck is the same. This deck is really, really cool. The basic gist is if you get Daken more power, you can make him like a 16 power card. And at that point, your double surfer type shenanigans are enough to win the game. One of the easiest ways to get a really powerful Daken is to go Daken on 3, Absorb Man on 4. If you can then Sarah on turn 5, you can play something like Surfer, Brood, and Gambit and get rid of that one of those Muramasa shards. You can also play Surfer, Brood, and then like Colleen, and make sure you're getting rid of 2 shards that way as well. But on turn 5, you're not always going to want to Sarah. Sometimes the right play will be to Wong. Let's say you got a Brood out early, a Cosmo out early, whatever, a card like that out very early, right? At that point, you've got Daken basically ready to win a lane. Hopefully, you're losing priority. He should be Shang proof unless you do. And then on turn 5, you can drop Wong. You can then drop Colleen on that Wong to get rid of both Muramasa shards, right? Making Daken a 16 power card, except making him an 18 power card because you've also got Surfer. Surfer first, by the way, because the power for Surfer will be doubled then, right? So it'll be 6, 12, 24 that way. So that is one really, really great way to power up Daken. The Daken play line of something like Daken into... I guess that you're a little awkward on mana there. So you have to be careful, right? So you're going to want to try and get the second Muramasa shard with Absorbing Man, which means you're not going to have Brood out. So your only really powerful card in that circumstance is going to be Daken. So you need a way to win another lane. Although, if you do Wong on 4, right, you can still Daken on turn 5 with hopefully Okoye is out with your Colleen Wing and get that immediate power up. So Wong on 4, Daken on 5, Colleen Wing, then to discard a couple of Muramasa shards, you have a really powerful Daken, and you can still last turn drop your Brood, Gambit, Surfer shenanigans to win the game. Cosmo is also excellent at absolutely wrecking the face off an opponent. This deck is really cool. You've got a lot of strategies here. Like if you've got an early Nova and Okoye and you can get the multiple things going, you're going to get a silly huge Daken that is fundamentally safe. Cosmo can also help protect Daken if you need to go off early with Daken. Like a Daken into Absorb Men into Cosmo and Okoye play, or Colleen Wing and Okoye play is still pretty good. You can still drop a Killmonger and a Surfer or whatever other nonsense you would want to last turn. Make yourself a bunch of huge cards that are really, really hard to beat. This deck is very cool, and I'm very happy to see the Surfer build actually working. We're going to look at another Surfer build that got day one infinite first thing tomorrow morning. So if you want to see that, don't make sure you're subbed and don't go anywhere. The second deck is even cooler. Bluntly, I was holding off on this one because this deck is sick. It's got Echo to protect your Wong, and it's got Mirage because Mirage is a good card with Swarm. Sorry, with Collector, and it's just nice to have an extra cheap card to throw into Lockjaw. That's the reason those cards are there. It's an extra card to discard. If you really, really need to, please feel free to run the newly buffed Cable. Cable is now, by the way, as of the patch earlier, a 2/2 that pulls the card off the top of the opponent's deck. That'll work just fine. That's also decent on top of a Wong. If you have nothing else, that Mirage type play, it gets you lots of fodder for all the nonsense you want to do. This is a really simple deck. You go something like Echo Morbius, Echo in the lane, you're going to want a Wong. You drop your Morbius / Collector, and if you can get a Lockjaw out, you're off to the races. You just start going into discard mode. You go hyper discard and eventually play a huge Apocalypse and win the game. You do want to get Daken out before you Lockjaw, if possible. If Daken is in hand, you don't want to start throwing things into Lockjaw. You want to Daken out first, and then your turn 4 can be Lockjaw and something else, right? Like and Echo as necessary. You don't want to throw the Shard into Lockjaw. That is a bad play for this deck, but you have that Shard. And as you end up discarding things with the, Gambit / MODOK / Colleen, that Daken is going to get bigger. You could also completely conceivably still go Wong into Daken into Morbius, right, in different lanes, and then spend your last turn playing MODOK, and especially if Swarm is in hand, you're going to go completely off with that play line. Apocalypse is really nice here, but he doesn't even have to be played, right? He's just a nice body. You have so many ways to get power on the board. Discarding Swarms is obviously incredible. Be wary when discarding Swarms, however. Swarms are very often going in Lockjaw. Be wary when discarding Swarms, because they will be a Colleen Wing target, right? And you don't want a handful of Swarms to the point where, unless you see MODOK, you can't get rid of that Muramasa Shard. Wong is the only way to really take advantage of double Daken, but just a 3/8 is enough power to be getting on with most of the time. 3/8 is an awful lot of power, and this deck is an awful lot of fun. Again, your priority cards here are Morbius and then MODOK, right? Like Morbius and MODOK are the two most important cards in the deck. If you've got Wong / Swarm / Collector, there's just a million different discard combos for this deck. If you didn't have Daken, you're playing a Lockjaw build, and like that's just completely busted too. Again, be careful when you have MODOK in hand. MODOK is the big discard. MODOK and Lockjaw don't work as well together as you would like necessarily, because you don't always want to because you don't want to throw basically a Gambit into Lockjaw if you've got MODOK in hand, right? Throwing anything else is more or less fine. Again, your goal really is to drop Swarms into Lockjaw, Colleen into Lockjaw. You're willing to drop Echo into Lockjaw. The other cards have more, and Gambit. The other cards have more value on board because they are what amounts to great stat lines. Collector very often ends up like a 2/6, 2/8. Morbius ends up like a 2/10. Colleen is already well statted. Gambit, you can add the stats for whatever he kills. Be wary of armor, obviously. It's a much worse play if the opponent has armor. 3/8 is a premium stat line for Daken. And Wong does crazy Wong things. Even 5/8 is one of the best stat lines in the game, as proved by the recent dominance of Legion. This deck has a lot of really cool things. Like, this is the one I'm going to be messing with going forward. I'm going to play both, right? I play everything just to get a feel for it, but this is the one I'm going to be messing with most going forward because it's such a cool and different take on a build that we know can succeed at a high level, as it has in day one for someone in top MMR who plays top players in the beta server. And if you don't know that this is actually important, a lot of people who played in the beta were put into one server because there weren't that many people playing yet. That server still has a lot of the top players in the world because they were the first ones to play. I know Safety is in that server. I know Dara is in that server. I'm pretty sure like TLSG is in that server. I can keep going, but like a lot of really great players who played during the beta are in that server. So if Dara goes undefeated into that server, getting infinity tickets, then this deck is legit. Welcome to the game, cool new archetype. My only hope is that people don't play enough Spider Ham to push this back down. The Spider Ham is pretty bad for this deck. Not like impossible to win against, but bad for this deck. All right, that's the second video of today. I hope you enjoy. Hope you hit sub. Hope you hit like, and I will see you tomorrow morning for day 1 Infinite Surfer and more. Always more here. Peace.